Welcome. How's everybody doing? We're going to start this event off the way that we open up all of our events. And this is a very special night because it is the last night that we're honoring the 2015 New York City Youth Poet Laureate, Crystal Valentine. Give it up for Crystal Valentine.
What's up? Hi guys, how are you? That was so whack. How y'all doing? No, like for real. So I'm gonna be doing my voter's poem. Maybe we're just waiting for the locusts to come. Maybe we're waiting for the whole world to set fire, for God to finally cleanse this melting pot, for a pure human race to rise from the ashes, because obviously the stakes aren't high enough. Obviously, college debt isn't high enough, and increased MetroCard fares aren't high enough, and high school dropout rates aren't high enough. Obviously, President Obama's signature on the $8.7 billion food stamp cut isn't enough, and America's attempt to exile an entire continent isn't enough, and people being beheaded on national television just isn't enough. Maybe we're waiting for something ridiculous to happen, like Miley Cyrus becoming the first female president, like racism being diagnosed as a mental illness, like police sirens becoming our new national anthem. Obviously, we're waiting for something deadlier than rape culture and police brutality to split this world in half. Maybe politics aren't Armageddon enough for us, aren't spark enough for us, aren't call to action enough for us. This is a call to action, to rally, to revolt. And I know it's hard living in a society where we attend more funerals than birthday parties. And I know you think you're just another flame in an uncontainable inferno. And what does a flame know of voting anyway? And what's a vote to a burning democracy? And I think I just saw the rapture coming. And I know you think Obama be just another God that has forsaken us. Just know, calling any man a god is the true Armageddon. Just know your refusal to vote is the true Armageddon, so vote. Because when Armageddon does happen, it will look nothing like this. Thank you.
How y'all doing tonight? I think you could do a little better than that. Tonight we are announcing the 2006 New York City Youth Poet Laureates. 16. Oh wow, I'm like way back. That's how old I am. I'm still living the good life from 2006. 2016 New York City Youth Poet Laureate. Give it up for that. Along with winning the title of New York City Youth Poet Laureate, the person that comes out of this with that title also wins a book deal from Penmanship Books to publish their first book of poetry. That book will come out next year when we do this event. It's sort of a passing of the torch. So tonight, as much as this is a celebration of the poets that are here tonight, we're also celebrating the release of Crystal Valentine's book called Not Everything is a Eulogy. It's a beautiful and timely collection. In light of the Black Lives Matter movement, this book really is so powerful and so poignant, and it really speaks to the many issues that we're dealing with in our society, sadly enough. And this is something that I think every young person should read, and every library should have this book. So I urge you to get one of these at the end of tonight's event. A couple of housekeeping things. This is a program with New York City Votes, the Campaign Finance Board, and Urban Word New York City. This is our 7th year, so tonight we will be naming the 7th ever New York City Youth Poet Laureate. 2 years ago, thank you, I'm just getting through this because I want you to hear the poets. 2 years ago, we launched this program nationally, and in 2 short years now we have more than 35 cities across the country participating in this program. We are gearing up to have a National Youth Poet Laureate very shortly in the next year, and it's an incredible program. We actually have folks from the Baltimore organization that's running the program down there in the house tonight, and a lot of incredible people in the audience. To put the actual competition into context, all of the students that you'll see tonight have submitted a poetry portfolio and a CV. So these young poets that have made it this far have been judged based on the quality of their incredible poetry, but also more so, in many ways, we like to prioritize what they've done in their lives and in their communities thus far. So these are young leaders that have done everything from creating poetry clubs in their schools, creating community grassroots movements in their own neighborhoods, volunteering. So these are young people that have, in some of them 16 years old, 15 years old, 17 years old, have done more than many of us in their short lives. So we prioritize not only the artistic excellence, but the youth leadership. Tonight's event is 2 rounds. If you've been here before, you know that one of the rounds is a voter poem. So we charge all the students to share a poem that is their take on voting and the voting process. That will be the first round. You will hear 16 poets reading those poems. Those are a little shorter. They're roughly about a minute to a minute and a half long. After that, we will bring up the top 8 scorers. Those top 8 will be in contention for the title of New York City Youth Poet Laureate, and they'll get to read a poem of their choice that'll be roughly around 3 minutes. We have some incredible special guests tonight, and we also have some incredible judges that are going to take us through that. So I would like to introduce the judges, but we have a ritual that we do at Urban Word to make our judges feel welcome. And something that is so ridiculous and oxymoronic as putting points to poems should be welcomed with a warm round of boos. So in this little corner here, we have our 5 judges, and let's welcome them on the count of 3 with a warm round of boos. 1, 2, 3. All right. So I'm just going to read the first sentence of their bios because they're incredibly prolific people. Saeed Jones's debut poetry collection, Prelude to Bruise, was the winner of the 2015 Penn Joyce Osterwheel Award for Poetry and the 2015 Stonewall Book Award, Barbara Giddings Literature Award, and a finalist for the 2015 National Book Critics Circles Award. Give it up for Saeed Jones. Wilbur Childs is new to our city. He's hailing from Philadelphia, and he is the Youth Voters Coordinator at Voters Assistance in New York City. Give it up for Wilbur Childs. Andrew Miller has over 25 years of city government experience, mainly focused on youth services, and is currently with the DYCD, Department of Youth and Community Development. Give it up for Andrew Miller. Allison Cavanes is a storyteller and culture worker based in New York City. Her work spans film, television, web, classroom, and stage. Give it up for Allison Cavanes. And last but not least, Desiree Bailey was born in Trinidad and Tobago, grew up in Queens, New York, has a BA from Georgetown University and an MFA in fiction from Brown University, and she's also a ridiculous poet. Give it up for Desiree Bailey. And with that said, I want to bring up our 2016 New York City Youth Poet Laureate ambassadors. Bring them to the stage and show them some love. Come on up, guys. Bring the rest of them. That's the first 8. Here's the second 8. Come on up, guys. So these poets really represent the vanguard of artistic excellence and youth leadership, civic engagement. They're incredible poets, and we're honored to have them here. Making it this far, they are already awarded the title of New York City Youth Poet Ambassadors. Throughout this year, as part of their tenure, they will be doing various voter drives, volunteer opportunities, and performances, of course, across New York City. So give it up for our poets. The poets that are not in the first round can take their seats. And now for our host. It's about to get started. It's a real thing. All the technical stuff is done. Now, you ready to hear some poetry? Tonight's host, Mahogany Browne, is Urban Word New York City's poet in residence, a Cave Canem Fellow and Poets House Fellow, the author of several books, including Redbone, Swag and Dear Twitter, Love Letters Hashed Out Online, recommended by Small Press Distribution, and listed on About.com's Best Poetry Books. Mahogany is the New Eurekan Poets Cafe Poetry Program Director and the curator of their famous Friday Night Slam. She's done a lot of incredible other things that I will announce later on in the evening, but please give it up to our host, Mahogany L. Browne.
All right, 1, 2, 1, 2. How y'all feeling? No. I need to make sure we can hear each other. How y'all feeling tonight? Do you understand the magnitude of the most amazingness that's about to happen right now? Give it up for these poets. They're gonna share all of the words. So, we're going to get through 2 rounds of our poets doing their voter poem, and our judges, they already know what to do. I just want to make sure, audience, your phones are on vibrate or silent, especially when you're taking pictures with the iPod. I mean, you know, that click, 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 we don't want that. And please make sure you give so much energy to these poets. It's very scary to get up here on this stage, this beautiful theater, y'all beautiful faces. It's a lot. So if you hear anything you like, you can say, ooh, ah, aight, nice, what, word? And my favorite is wow. Do that, all right? First poet coming to share a poem. It's a very hard job, which means you need to make so much noise the rafters shake. Juliana is from Queens and has presented her work at New York Live Arts as part of Journal to Journey and at the Lincoln Center as a part of the Poet Link Poetry Program. Please make some noise for Juliana.
We must be the shadow of our ancestors. The way we sit aloof at the fork in the road, shaking our brick heads with hands locked behind our backs, making volcanoes of our voices like we got a right to, as if we're not acting like our hands still work for the white man, like our hands still obey the white skin when the black whip tell the brown people not to vote. So let's not converse about a revolution we're not even ready for. We can't get to work until we're all salivating and panting, till we're hard with resolve, until we're ready to strut into our polling sites and cast our votes.
Thank you so much. From the mouth of the next generation. Can you hear me? Okay, I'm used to it being so much louder. Next poet up, are y'all ready to say, oh yeah? Oh yeah. Natachi was a Brave New Voices 2015 semifinalist and is a first-year student at Columbia University. Give it up for Natachi!
This nation will forever be broken, like the branches of the government, like holy trees embodying life, but cracked like whips into bringing death. No noose. Use your own hands to massage your necks gently. Witness as you hold yourself in your hands. And in your hands, you hold your community too. Provide for the people. Isn't that what the government's supposed to do? But look, in the individual, there is unity too. Look, in tight spaces, there is room for you. We are making space for the ones with wombs who made space for you. And we will not be consumed. No, we will reproduce leaders with melanin inclinations and cycled menstruations, because what good is a government without adequate representation? So fight. Fight so you see something worth fighting for in the mirror. And then fight to see a mirror in all eyes. Oh, the eyes are reflective. The eyes will unite into we's, and we shall live, even in the midst of tied ropes, even in the midst of tight ropes. because we must be unboxed and thirsting for balance, for there to be any worth lurking in the balance.
All right, Natachi. Thank you, Natachi. Woo, these poets gonna make you feel things. I'm telling you, the revolution will begin right after this, huh? Next poet up, Chloe, is a member of Urban Words 2015 Youth Board and a recipient of the Christopher Santora Scholarship. Please welcome to the mic, Chloe.
Caution. Contents may be graphic. In a slaughterhouse, the bald American eagle is a rope hung by its thighs, awaiting butchering, talons twitching at some vague remembrance of freedom limited, nevertheless, freedom, or had been freed of. Tightly fastened wings, its clipped nails for prey, a restrained beak sharp enough to deflate the balloon of egos. And now, it's a lost cause, because we, the children, are standing by just watching. Only know to watch. The dangling eagle throws saucer eyes of malice at the children for the already voted eyes laced with ignorance. Their devotion to bloodshot eyeballs bombarding the only light they know, TV screens, computer screens, phone screens, until gleeful butcher impaling American eagle bald of pride and dignity for display. And you know, the popularity polls say it might be the most watched movie of the year. Thank you.
Thank you, Chloe, thank you. Thank you so much, Chloe. Next up, Frankie was a finalist at the 2015 New York City Teen Poetry Slam at the Apollo Theater and has presented his work at New York Live Arts as part of the 2015 Journal to Journey program. Welcome to the mic, y'all, Frankie.
Yes, we can. Dear Mom and Dad, when I grow up, I want to be just like Barack Obama. They tell me that the 44th is a special number, that the 44th is going to comb his hand through every grain of sacrifice, chiseling change into our bones. He'll dispel the cage on our tongues and teach us to sing. He'll dispel the lies stored in our sternums and tell us we're beautiful. Last night, I had a dream that we won't be hungry ever again. He'll break bed, he's going to cut the noose, turn the blood, all this blood into wine, and stitch the chains. We won't be hungry ever again. I read in the papers, everything's going to be different. He's going to do that, right? Mom, no one can stop him, right? Dad, right?
All right. Give it up for Frankie. Next up, Khadijah Johnson has been featured in For Harriet and performed at venues like the Apollo Theater, Lincoln Center, and New York Live Arts. She is a student at Brooklyn College. Give it up for Khadijah.
Whether you know or not, your genesis is a domino effect of predetermined choices. When you were born, a world was sculpted to accept you. The exodus will begin when they notice that every breath is a form of activism. Whether you become the oppressor or the oppression swallows you alive, remember that the revolution was biblical. That Jesus stood before judges and became another wrongfully accused African descendant killed by a system that was proclaimed to protect him.
This will become the revelation that will drive the country into uproar. Each day we resist arrest, we ignite a new testament. Each skeleton, another forgotten king, awaiting for our acts to reflect our ballots. Realize that we bear numbers of miracles in our blood. When they tell us death is the easiest way of escape, and you chose life today, do you promise to not let the ballot be your noose tomorrow?
All right. All right now. How y'all feeling out there? I hear y'all having moments. Okay. The best way to give love to these poets is by hashtagging it on Facebook or Twitter. Snapping. Everybody needs that. You know what I mean? Next up, Leslie is a member of the youth board at Urban Word NYC and has performed at Lincoln Center and is president of the Inspire Multicultural Club at her school. Give it up right now for Leslie.
Two days after I was born, he saw me for the first time. My brother looks at me for the first time, and at 8 years old already knows. Got immigrant stamped onto him, but he couldn't even tell you where he comes from. Bleach covers his tongue, erases heritage, destroys roots, consumes the original design. Immigrant family comes to United States, tries to raise their son to be a suitable American. He, my own blood, stares down at me, an invasion. Inevitably, he is thought of as a failure, infectious, disease. He wonders what it feels like to be born enough. This thing, I, citizen, 2 days old, already had more than he ever did. My brother is theoretical. I, citizen, exist in concepts conceived with the notion of acceptance. I invoke the right to own myself, own the illusion of safety. This home was always mine. I have never looked my brother in the eye. I vote to tell him that I'm sorry. Sorry that he don't know Spanish, but still seen as trying to take someone's job. Immigrant boy? Does he not live here? What more does he want? Rights? He walks along the border between abandonment and foreign place. So easy to weed him out into vocal extinction. I overhear him linger in the conversation. Hold him steady and tell him to stay.
Well, thank you, Leslie. I think we're gonna have some yoga after all these poets go. What you think? We have a support group making us feel stuff. Next poet up, Rod, is from Queens. He's a graduate of Brooklyn Tech, where he helped his team win 3rd place in the Brooklyn Borough Challenge. Give it up right now for Rod.
How can I fight a war on terror? Wait, hold up. How can I worry about a war on terror when there's already a war inside my head? They said, kid, forget about your mania and worry about the media instead. I said, affluential future figurehead, I tried. But how can I be a supporter when all you use is special diction to make me believe your political fiction? You may promise, if you win, that you pay someone's tuition only if they major in the fruition of your master plan. But if I don't fit in because I'm not white or a man, you may try to convince me, yes, we can. But who's we anyway? We, the mentally ill, because we're still popping pills. Black boys endangered because they're still in danger. My hijabi sisters, because they're sitting there thinking how they're lucky he missed her, but he can never pull off their fate. Exactly. Wait. That's all just now. What even more done back then. So let's not wait until when. Fight that war in your head, and I'll fight mine. And when we win, we'll combine our victories. select someone worth our time to make up for past history. Maybe work up to her story or their story until eventually it's all ours.
Yeah, thank you, Rod. And our last poet in this cycle, Aya, has performed at the Metropolitan Museum, Lincoln Center, the Apollo Theater, and is currently a student at Hudson Community College. Give it up for Aya.
A series of unrelated tweets between me and America's Skeleton after she announces she'll be running for vice president under Donald Trump in 2016. I tweet, America's Hitler mass produces refugee blood in a bottle. Thinks bombs going off sounds like applause, confuses bone marrow for Chardonnay, for anything other than itself. She tweets, I am not self-hate. The deepest an x-ray goes is the marrow lining, and you judge the rib cage. As those photo shoots didn't feel like practice mugshots. I've been smiling harsh since you could type a hashtag. She say, yes, I'm the height of a terrorist horseman, been snot-nosed and bubble-blowing atom bombs. I say, he who blasphemes ISIS dooms us all. She say, I gave up everything to howl at the moon. Got all this black off the white inside me, got knockout drunk. The moon's tidal wave is actually just a whiskey cabinet. I spit till brown, blood, skin, and scared are just alliterations. Only a little illiterate. The moon wanes in the shape of a blue third eye. That's so crazy. I change skin colors with the tides, same way Pocahontas learned to. You think I won't do everything in my power to make America great again?
Please make some noise one more time. Come on up. For Juliana Arroyo, Natachi Mez, Chloe Chin, Frankie Lee, Khadijah Johnson, Leslie Moreau, Rod Alam, and Aya Perez. They just read you some poems. Give it up for them one more again. And let's welcome out the next cycle. Welcome to the stage, Willie, Kaylin, Nkosi, Gurakat, Kiana, Sergio, Amani, and Trace. We're all here. All right. Before we go any further, we got to give it up for our DJ. DJ Abby. Give it up for yourselves. Deep breath in. Deep breath in. Breathe in. Out through your mouth. Let it all out. Let it all out. Breathe in one more time. Hold it. And then breathe out. Feel better? A little bit. I'm telling you, poets make you feel all the things, honey. The best way to support a poet is by buying their book, high-fiving them. You ready for some more poems? Say, oh yeah? Oh yeah. Willie was a member of the 2015 Urban Word Slam team. And he won a full ride scholarship to St. John's University as part of Urban Words Poetry Scholars Program. Give it up for Willie.
You know, the right to a gun came after the right to own people. The point, I suppose it's great to live in a country where you have the right to anything black, whether guns or lives or culture. It doesn't really matter, I guess. Any which way, something ends up bleeding regardless. This, is what we gotta do to make sure our country's strong, make America great again. Believe me when I say the state of our union is strong, like our borders, like nothing can get through this teeming shore, tempest-tossed or not. I don't care where you're from or if you belly flop onto the beach, kid. What do you suppose the law is? An opinion? A bias? Ain't you ever looked at me? What you think I am? 2 parts voter and 3/5 victim? Don't you see how the flags?
Don't you see how the flag bleeds too? Like the bullets through my skin, like the ink from the pen always knows how to stage a coup to cotton pick. All white men, what has a congressman, senator, or president done for me that I ain't done myself? It said pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the injustice for which it stand, one nation, under the right God, indivisible, by land, sea, and drones abroad. You know, from all this talk of democracy, we forget that it isn't. It's a republic. It means those that choose to lead get to do so.
That was Willie. All right. And your next poet coming to the stage, Kaylin is an alum of the Youth Board at Urban Word. She's performed at the Lincoln Center, Sarah Lawrence College, John Jay College, and other places. Welcome to the mic, Kaylin.
When I'm 18, my mother asks me who I'm voting for. Says Trump and Carson are leading the polls. I hear excitement in her voice. A child picking an ice cream flavor and not knowing it'll only ravage their stomachs, give them diabetes. I want to tell her that Trump don't care about her struggle, about what kind of household she married young to get out of. Instead, I say he is a lawless man, clueless in both politics and basic humility. Neither one of these are lies. For her, voting is the usual humdrum. She doesn't understand that for me, it is dire. It is to save her. Save all that Brooklyn, all that Puerto Rican, all that Muslim, all that Allah and woman she cradles in her rib cage. But instead, she recites Fox News to me and fears that I am not educated on this country. So I shrug. And like a concerned mother, we'll hear no more talk of ice cream. Thank you.
Thank you, Kaylin. And your next poet, Nkosi, was a member of the 2014 Urban Word Slam team. He is also a Kalaloo and Conscious Language Fellow. Give it up right now for Nkosi.
How it sounded to squish a cockroach. It was as if splintering a shard of wood with a bag of blood in its body, the dark beast dissolving in the palm of my hand against the ceramic basin in my bathroom, just as I pressed into its abdomen, potentially executing its children that would, in fact, foster colonies in the sink were it not for the simple act of carnage. So if my hand in that moment was not God, explain its ease in deciding the creature's fate beneath the palm, becoming alike to spilled oil, slick and staining, its wings unfolding below the skin, black smeared upon black, this an erosion of deadly colors, much like a portrait of a citizen, so hidden behind its own color of blood that it becomes less than a citizen, but more like a roach squished on the side of a sink, without voice or rhetoric, unable to vote against the things that which kills it. And isn't that the most common and tragic story of any creature's inability to speak the same language of its conqueror, but still saying, please do not make me the body that only the outrage will remember. So, my fellow Americans, I suggest we vote to prevent the slaughter of roaches. Because don't we all know how it feels to be beneath the palm, pressed and oppressed?
All right. I just want to put it out there that these youth poets are making it very hard for us old poets. We need a new application process for the elder poets like myself. They are all just so good. It's kind of dumb how good they are. Your next poet, Gurkarat, is a member of the youth board at Urban Word NYC, a mixed martial arts enthusiast, and a student at the City College of New York. Give it up right now for Gul Karat.
To Bernie, thank you for letting the two young women interrupt your rally and letting them do your job because Black lives and Black voices matter. Thank you for being the only candidate who seems to care about the illegal drug war transitioned into indentured servitude complex. Thank you for using we instead of I in your speeches, not putting us into boxes, not dividing and further dividing. Thank you for being the only candidate to link up with Killer Mike to be down with Run the Jewels, putting up the fist and gun. Thank you for being the only candidate to expose the 1%, because whenever I go walk to 720 Park Avenue, the sign reads in my head, please do not block the entrance unless you have greenbacks. There is a sleeping giant and it's going to wake up one day. Make the power hungry starve. Make noise and flip the nearest table because this country started because of political protest. Engage and fight back. The vote only counts if we wake up from the greed. Put up your fist and gun, and thank you.
Yes, Gul Karat, thank you. Your next poet, Kiana, is a member of the youth board at Urban Word NYC. She's performed at the Metropolitan Museum, Lincoln Center, and the New Eurekan Poets Cafe. Give it up for Kiana.
I was sexually assaulted on the train because I was standing in a sardine can train because I was running late to school. Transferred from the D train to 6 trains to 5 trains to 6 train because I decided to call Jason that morning because he was the love of my life in the moment. Because I was enthralled by his afro and mahogany skin, because I like Black boys. Because I hit puberty at 11 years old and have been enthralled with Black boys ever since. Because I ate a lot of chicken with hormones. Because I grew up in America. Because my mom went to college in America. Because she had to get an education. Because that's the only way to be a woman with worth. I was sexually assaulted on the train because I wasn't wearing shorts under my skirt. Because it was hot and I shaved the night before, so I felt pretty. Because society perpetuates the idea that women should be hairless, kind of like naked mole rats. Because we have founding fathers, because men birthed this misogynistic nation, because men found, raped, and pillaged America, because America is a woman, and you know how that go. I was sexually assaulted on the train because he wanted to, because 1 in 5 deemed the victim at least partially responsible for rape or assault. Because I breathe in this body while people try to tell me what my rights are and then take them from me. Tell me what my body can be and then take that from me. What this temple can worship and then burn it to the ground. Because what kind of legislation is going to protect a Black girl if we can't even convince them Black lives matter?
What? All right, Kiana. Your next poet, Sergio, was a member of the 2013 Urban Word Slam team. He is a member of the youth board at Urban Word currently. Give it up right now for Sergio. Mike
In order to have political power, you must understand the needs of the people. I am the people. And I got some needs. Like, I need milk to stop costing $5. I need the MTA to stop making an ATM out of my pocket. And all this talk about public housing becoming co-ops, that needs to stop. I need someone who cares about me like a homeless man counting pennies. You ever had to count pennies? I don't mean 5 or 6. I mean, you ever lost count counting pennies? The thing is, the people who know the problems don't know politics. And the people who know politics don't know the problems. You want my vote? The day you learn how to count people the way homeless people count pennies, I might find the strength to crawl off my PlayStation, drag myself 2 blocks away from my bed, stand online like I'm buying some Jordans, and remember your name on the ballot. Will you remember my name? You ever had to count pennies? Have you ever seen a homeless man count pennies? Every penny counts.
All right, Sergio, thank you, sir. Your second to last poet in this round, Imani, was a finalist at the 2015 Urban Word Teen Poetry Slam. She performed at the Metropolitan Museum, the Apollo Theater, and is currently a member of the 2015 Youth Board at Urban Word NYC. Give it up for Imani.
According to the multiverse theory, when a system is large enough, it contains an infinite amount of matter inside of it. This is true for universes, lies, and cages. So a caged body contains an infinite amount of caged bodies. Every 4 years or so, we pick the locks out of a lineup of firm handshakes and campaign slogans. We want this one, the one with eyes deep as keyholes and an odd combination of thoughts. Maybe if we twist his words right, we'll end up free this time. 2008, 2012, 2016. Combination doesn't exist. It's just theory, like relativity. As in, the speed of the light at the end of the tunnel is always the same no matter how slow we move towards it. We let the bars rust and call that progress, as if the body cannot become a key. Sometimes the ballot is a last breath, a hymn at the funeral, a protest sign. Either way, we vote.
Thank you, Imani. And your last poet in our 1 minute round, Trace, won a National Gold Medal for scholastic writing in 2015. He was a finalist in the 2015 Urban Word Teen Poetry Slam and staged his play at New York Live Arts as part of the 2015 Journal to Journey program. Give it up for Trace.
Hashtag Mike Brown is 18 and legal now, taking full advantage of the enough he is. Might go sign up for the war. Might as well. Still can't get drunk or get a real loan without offering a limb, arm, his death. As if it were even legal to be young, black, living and really living, and he looking like no exception, just legal now. Legal to sex and war and sign permission slips for his own intents and purposes. What is a young black life but thick hair, good organs for the taking, and crying mothers anyhow? If that, then what makes him feel that he had the right to be rendered enough? To be black and worthy of the space we take up feels paradoxical now and then. It is his only constant, his forgotten privilege, to have inherited a surplus of self-doubt. But he's legal now, old enough to be declared. Enough of that. And withstand it all, might as well vote.
Please give it up for Willie Luperon, Kaylin Vasquez, Nkosi Nkokoleku, Nkuleku, Garat Singh, Gurakat Singh, Kiana Hunter, Sergio Jimenez, Imani Davis, and Trace DePass. Give it up for them poets. And let's bring Michael Sorelli to the stage.
That's it. You guys have a good time in the first round? Have you solidified your views on voting after that round? I don't know. Those are some incredibly insightful poems. The judges have a very difficult task of choosing the 8 poets that will make it to the final round of this event. But as they do that, we have an incredible guest that I'm just honored to bring up to the stage. Her name is Jacqueline Woodson. Jacqueline Woodson is a 2014 National Book Award winner for her New York Times best-selling memoir, Brown Girl Dreaming, which was also a recipient of the Coretta Scott King Award, a Newbery Honor Award, the NAAC Image Award, and the Siebert Honor Award. Woodson was recently named the Young People's Poet Laureate by the Poetry Foundation and is the author of more than 24 award-winning books for young adults, middle graders, and children. Among her accolades, she is a 4-time Newbery Honor winner, a 3-time National Book Award finalist, a 2-time Coretta Scott King Award winner. Her bio is incredible. She supports this program and believes in what these young people are doing, and it's my honor to bring her to the stage. Give it up for Jacqueline Woodson.
I don't even know why I am here. Y'all are so badass. It's just amazing to be in the room with such talent. I have a 13-year-old daughter, and I'm texting her. I'm like, you should be here. You should be here right now. I should have brought you here. I can't believe you're not here. You just changed the world, and I'm so proud to be walking through this world with you. So thank you. And I am so glad I'm not judging. I'm going to just read a couple of sections from my memoir, Brown Girl Dreaming. My second daughter's second day on earth. My birth certificate says female, Negro. Mother, Marianne Irby, 22, Negro. Father, Jack Austin Woodson, 25, Negro. In Birmingham, Alabama, Martin Luther King Jr. is planning a march on Washington where John F. Kennedy is president. In Harlem, Malcolm X is standing on a soapbox talking about a revolution. Outside the window of University Hospital, snow is slowly falling. So much covers this vast Ohio ground. In Montgomery, only 7 years have passed since Rosa Parks refused to give up her seat on a city bus. I am born brown-skinned and black-haired and wide-eyed. I am born Negro here and colored there and somewhere else. The freedom singers have linked arms, their protest rising in song. Deep in my heart, I do believe that we shall overcome someday. And somewhere else, James Baldwin is writing about injustice, each novel, each essay changing the world. I do not know who I'll be, what I'll say, how I'll say it. Not even 3 years have passed since a brown girl named Ruby Bridges walked into an all-white school. Armed guards surrounded her while hundreds of white people spat and called her names. She was 6 years old. I do not know if I'll be strong like Ruby. I do not know what the world will look like when I am finally able to walk, speak, write. Another Buckeye, the nurse says to my mother. Already I am being named for this place, Ohio, the Buckeye State. My fingers curl into fist automatically. This is the way, my mother said, of every baby's hands. I do not know if these hands will become Malcolm's, raised and fisted, or Martin's open and asking, or James's curled around a pen. I do not know if these hands will be Rosa's or Ruby's, gently gloved and fiercely folded, calmly in a lap on a desk around the book, ready to change the world. And this is called Bushwick, where I grew up. The old Bushwick. So, the back in the day Bushwick, when people like me lived there and it wasn't being televised. So I was born in Bushwick. I was born in Ohio, then I moved to Bushwick, and then I moved to South Carolina, and from South Carolina, my family, as part of the Great Migration, came to Bushwick. Before German mothers wrapped scarves around their heads, kissed their own mothers goodbye, and headed across the world to Bushwick. Before the Italian fathers sailed across the ocean for the dream of America and found themselves in Bushwick. Before Dominican daughters donned quinceañera dresses and walked proudly down Bushwick Avenue. Before young brown boys in cut-off shorts spun their first tops and played their first games of skelly on Bushwick streets, before any of that, this place was called Bostvik, settled by the Dutch and Franciscus the Negro, a former slave who bought his freedom. And all of New York was called New Amsterdam, run by a man named Peter Stuyvesant. There were slaves here. Those who could afford to own their freedom lived on the other side of the wall, and now that place is called Wall Street. When my teacher says, so write down what all of this means to you, our heads bend over our notebooks, the whole class silent, the whole class belonging somewhere to Bushwick. I did not just appear one day. I didn't just wake up and know how to write my name. I keep writing, knowing now that I was a long, long, long time coming. And this, I'm gonna end with Mecca. Like so many people I know, we have family members who are incarcerated, and when people say they don't know anyone that was incarcerated, they lying. And back in the day, we used to say they moved upstate. It's like, oh yeah, my uncle left, he moved upstate, my brother moved upstate. And it was like, why are all these brothers moving upstate? And when my uncle came back, he had converted to the Nation of Islam. And we had been Jehovah's Witnesses, and I guess my family thought there wasn't enough religion in the house, so we also were practicing Muslims. Maybe Mecca. There's a teenager on our block with one arm missing. We call him Lefty, and he tells us he lost his arm in Vietnam. That's a war, he says. Y'all lucky to be too young to go. It doesn't hurt anymore, he tells us when we gather around him. But his eyes are sad eyes, and some days he walks around the whole block, maybe 100 times without saying anything to anyone. When we call, hey, Lefty, he doesn't even look our way. Some evenings I kneel toward Mecca with my uncle. Maybe Mecca is the place Lefty goes to in his mind when the memory of losing his arm becomes too much. Maybe Mecca is good memories, presents, and stories, and poetry, and arroz con pollo, and family and friends. Maybe Mecca is the place everyone is looking for. It's out there in front of you, my uncle says. I'll know it when I get there. Thank you.
Let's hear it one more time for Jacqueline Woodson. Thank you so much. It's a memoir in verse, too, so just in case writing a memoir isn't hard enough, picture writing it in poems, and that's what she did. And it won the National Book Award. And she's from Brooklyn, so there you go. So I'm going to ask the 8 people that I'm about to announce that are the final 8 in the running for the New York City Youth Poet Laureate to come and join us on stage. But before I say that, I want to really just thank all of the poets that performed today. You know, you've illuminated the topic of voting and the way that we think about how we navigate this world in really profound ways, and you've just been a great example of the type of leadership that we want to cultivate with our young people, so thank you, and give it up to you guys. So this will be the order as well in the second round. Give it up for Khadijah. Also going to the second round is Willie. Please welcome up Trace. Keep the applause going for Kiana. Also in the running is Leslie. Give it up for Aya. Also Imani. And last but not least, Nkosi. Congratulations to all the poets, and specifically the poets that didn't make it. Show them some love on the way out. Without further ado, bring it back to our host, Mahogany Al Brown.
Give it up for all the poets that touched stage today, please. And I really want to make sure I say this. Even those who did not move to the next round, we talked about this backstage. Your job is not done. The world needs our young voices. And this is only one facet in the long lineage of the art that they will be creating and the revolution that they will curate and forward, bring us forward in. And so we really want to give thanks for those poets for being brave enough to get up on this stage. Give it up for them one more time. And so now we're going to get into the last round. You ready to say, oh yeah? Oh yeah. Y'all don't understand. I messed up all them names because I was nervous. I'm nervous, and I'm not doing nothing but saying names. You know what I'm saying? That's it. So please, on the count of 3, make all the noise in your body for these poets on stage. 1, 2, 3. And let's welcome to the stage your first poet in this round, Khadijah.
Inspired by the novel Absalom, Absalom, How to Detonate a Landmine, a letter from the slave master to the 22nd century Brownsville. I don't know what it means to come from royalty, so to taste a variation, I continue to rob your ancestors of their kingdom. The first time I had my hand on a slave, I felt their sovereignty collapse, their crowns colliding with the praises of my drunken father. I came from a lower class white privilege. You understand that, right? To have a body people crave to appropriate, but refuse to accept the negative connotations that come with it. Example, I step outside, sun wreak havoc against my pigmentation. I transform from white cheddar to bruised alabaster. Yet when murky concubine peeks out from the shadows, concubine absorbs light, melanin converts to onyx. Don't you see why we whip you? Attempting to find ourselves beneath all that obsidian. The pink continuously ravishing against letter. Isn't this what you wanted, Negro? To become as bright as your lighter counterpart? To be accepted as house labor rather than sugarcane cutted captive? Understand that I'm preparing you for the future. I have laid a 3-step communion. Strip you from your family. Subject wretch to my plantation. Reclaim your culture as my own. Aren't the sons still searching for their fathers? Becoming an irreverent cycle, looking in between the aisles of supermarkets, wishing they were left behind in the magnum as they play magician in between each other's legs. Doesn't picking cotton remind you of codeine? Don't you understand why the lack of white substance gives them withdrawals? Their convulsions mimic the dance of whips crying against their backs. If you listen closely, their bones snap, crackle, and pop on beat just like their ancestors. Look at how we took the magic of cornrows and dreadlocks, maxed them as artistic interpretation of slave grounds. Look how we rob your womb, put a price on your son before he's cut from the umbilical cord. We baptize you in this repression in the name of the slaveholder, the whip, and the Negro spirituals. The triangle trade will continue to haunt your descendants. There will always be sketchy enclosed spaces, limited resources. Look at Rikers, Attica, Folsom State Prison. I'm a savior. I brought my lineage from a chance at this continuous oppression. Do you taste your kingdom now, slowly growing inside of cages? Orange uniforms becoming jewels we robbed you from? Isn't this the justice you were looking for? A place to stay during the ethnic cleansing and feeding it to you as a God complex? Isn't that what love is? Keeping you locked up as you hopelessly sing hymns to a God we painted to look like us? Don't you recognize the story? We fed this to you for centuries. Innocent man, pierced body, weeping mother forced to bury her child. Haven't you realized your Savior has gone through the same death your sons have been trying to avoid for years? And you still believe your heavenly enslaved father is white?
Give it up for Khadijah. And keep on clapping for your next poet, Willie.
My grandfather has made it a habit of asking me what I've learned every time I come back home from college. I say, I've learned how to use my hands, how to weave things into existing. He says, I don't think your hands are made for holding. And if so, I think they do a very bad job of it. They remind him of gutters, how they let things slip through the cracks like women and family and children and blood and lives. He says the saddest parts about our deaths are the things we leave behind. I see the saddest part about our deaths is the death, is our joy left behind drying on the sun. All this black joy, there's nothing more outrageous than a swarm of bodies. It's always bodies. It's always black bodies rocking with the wind, one against the other, moving and dancing and laughing as if to be young and black and alive is not reason enough. So we move together, all pop, lock, and dropping like southern branches in Oakwood. I tell him I've learned white folks sure love the way leaves dry in the fall, how they hang from limbs, each drooping like our smiles. I tell him I've learned that our smiles feel more like a sunset or a spotlight or a target or a hashtag or a vigil. I tell him I've learned I don't know the same language. I tell him our language is always different. Tell him we always in a group, we always in a gang. Look how we walk lockstep in a chain gang like the chain link fence outside the prison or the school building. I tell him I've learned I don't know the difference. I tell him I've learned, according to Chapter 1 of Title 4 of the United States Code, the United States flag should not be used for decoration of any kind, except for coffins. I tell him I learned how our bodies stack up like a bloody patchwork of statistics. In statistics, I learned how to read between the lie. Ever notice how they're always white? From the view of the ground, don't they kind of look like bars? Ever notice how they invite some degree of blue and bruise onto our skin? How they make a star out of every warning shot to our backs? Ever notice how they too are white? Ever notice how our flag still bleeds? Ain't that the blackest thing? I tell him I've learned how my black feels against the asphalt. It too is black. It too knows what it feels like to be stepped on, to feel the brunt of a boot heel. It knows how to hold all my black when I spill it. I saw the world last night, and it taught me how not to blame the officer, how it ain't his fault, how he couldn't reach the murder suspect till he saw it spilling out of me on the crime scene. And you better call it a crime scene. And you better call it a crime scene. And you better call it a crime scene. You better never call it anything other than a crime scene. It's a crime scene. I tell him I've learned how to make a snuff film out of a news cycle, how to use it as entertainment. Call it How to Get Away with Murder. Say my character development too slow, and I don't know. I can take their no more. All they wanna my flow. Master Wave don't whip no more. Wouldn't you know we've been hurt, been down before? When our pride was low, looking at the world like, where do we go? And we hate Bopo, when a killer's dead in the street for show. I'm in the preachers though, my knees getting weak and it's gone my blood, but we gon' be all right. Tell them 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 we gon' be, all right?
All right, Willie. Thank you, sir. And keep that applause going for your next poet, Trace.
I think you've mistaken quiet for peace. Emmett went silent. He was a war. I've seen bullets dig a ditch deep enough to see daylight from the other side. I've seen a tombstone hit earth so snug it never made a noise. It was like when I tiptoe and expect a creak, or at least a waking body but get a surprising nothing. I've seen Piper pick the proper pillow after the sleeping man wanted to up and disrespect her and her no. See, he mustn't have wanted to up because he won't be up anyone else ever. Now it's quiet for him too. I've seen monsters under her bed shut the hell up. I've seen newborn cry. I've seen Fox News and turn the volume down respectively. I've seen protest, censored. I too have wept for many things. Asthma tugged my lungs hard enough to shatter screams into a million whispers on the hardwood floor, some broke. I still recall fingers left in the back of my mouth when I recall loud joys. You know, I've seen a tree frog, except skinned, salted, and human. I've seen gravity shut his restless legs to sleep. I've walked past streetlights, seen a hand cover the same note from earlier. I've seen blood crushed. I've seen that not matter. I've seen a million pipers, some silent, had fingers left in the roofs of their mouths. Her scream, it fell in on itself, hit dirt so snug, never made it to the news. I see Rashida McBride, 19, her car crashes. Nobody is around, so it doesn't make a noise. 19, walks into neighborhood, knocks on door, homeowner decides to make her 19 stop counting. Rashida McBride takes a shotgun to the face, and the streets refuse to crumble. Rashida McBride takes a shotgun to the face, and they called it blurred vision. They said all she did was fall. You know, there's a certain song that wails itself when a black body meets its own bowels, and it usually sounds more beautiful than what it is. She didn't even get that. They said, we always gotta make an exit louder than the bullet. Black folk be so stuck, can't even leave their own body without no fuss. Ain't never seen one rest. Ain't never seen one rest in no peace. I've seen women envy Emmett's death, jealous of the latest black boy to drop. You know, I'd mentioned his mom, but I forgot her. She already human, deemed not human, and she blood crust black. It's like everyone wants her to shut the fuck up and take even the monsters in/under her bed. So that's when she just grabbed the pillow.
Right, Trace? Give it up for that poet, and keep on clapping as Kiana comes to the mic. Give it up for Kiana.
Now he was beautiful. God woke up that morning and said, let me make a nice chocolate boy. Let me chisel his chest from coffee beans and granite stones. Let me pour stars in him, lest he ever can't see the stars in the sky. Let me make his skin leather, smooth and soft and durable and impenetrable and smooth and soft. Let me give him pecans for eyes like his mother's pie and a great big Adam's apple like his father, because this boy will be heard, and long arms to wrap around the woman or man he loves. Hold up society, hold up his culture, hold up his ancestors. Let me just fill his mind with knowledge like pomegranate juice, red dripping down his temple. He's overflowing with it, had to get out somehow. Let me give him hair, nappy hair, a bushel of hair full of curls and crinkles and love and breath and pecans and pomegranate juice. Red, dripping down his temple as he screams out, face pressed against starless concrete. I go to UVA, you racist. How could this happen? How could this happen? How could this happen? The leather of his face was no longer soft or smooth or impenetrable. Concrete carves right through granite. God woke up that morning and said, I love you, and I pushed you into this unjust world not to be bartered, but to be beautiful. I name you Martise Johnson, and you are beautiful. Part 2. I wear this skin like a cloak and a weapon. I swear to you, if you touch me, you will never see the son or your daughters. I'll be all bombshells and gunpowder until you stop shooting. I will drag you back into the darkness of this womb. Because if a woman puts you into this world, a woman can surely take you out of it. Black is an absence of light. Which is to say, I will suffocate you with this absence while you learn what it feels like to be mother and daughter and non-gender conforming sibling and brother and sister and son. Do you know what it feels like to be a son? Womb heavy with that weight like casket, mouth full of whales engraved on his headstone. I will be all holy, all sacred, all blessed, because even God knows what it feels like to be a son. Part 3. Not my son. Not my baby boy. That corpse on the ground there is not my son. That is corpse, and you are murderer. What did you confuse? That is animals to slaughter. That is not justice, and you are murderer. What did you confuse? Well, obviously, you confused taser for handgun and black bear back for target practice. Well, obviously, you confused my son for thug, for pestilence to be cleansed for armed monster. Well, obviously, you confused my son for a martyr for a forsaken cause.
Thank you, Kiana. And keep clapping for your next poet, Leslie. Give it up for Leslie, y'all.
My body anchors to this bed. Wonder if it'll finally swallow me whole. I've been here too long waiting, having these untruths emanating from this hollow shell, ricocheting off the walls. When will they hit me? I can't breathe. These sheets wrapped around my ankles, thighs, restrain each limb, and I sink into absolute nothingness. Remember that his hands were so real, his prepubescent glare could break a 10-year-old girl, could rip every thought I was never taught to have. In the first grade, there was a delineation of what a crush felt like. My mother clarified the definition of hate real quick. She eradicated any notion of asylum, and I became battleground. Be wary of your enemy at all times. Align your forces on the perimeter. Mourn each one of their deaths when they miscalculate by wandering hands. He will take everything. At 10, I looked the devil in the eye and knew that he was so real. Every touch set fire to my nerve endings, counted every ending that began with him, saw him pick his teeth with the fingers that dug each wound, never clean. I am never clean. He was so close, traced each delicate vein on my thighs as if they weren't connected to a bomb. A bomb, this bomb never went off, right? Caused slow destruction. Instead, I am still here. I was still there. He was so close, and I could have ripped out his jugular vein, clenched between loose baby teeth, following bloodstreams over my skin. Is this even my skin? Prune flesh soaked in bathtub for so long, skin purple. I can't get this filth off of me. Numb my body and peel him off of me. This is not my body. This is a remnant of a distant memory lined with the residue of the constructs that they formed in my mind as he watched me recoil into insignificant parts. I am significant parts, and he is nothing, right? I am every recollection of bruises sanctified, and he is nothing. I am unadulterated elementary school girl, and he is nothing. He is nothing. And I drag each foot through carpeted floors, feel my vertebrae strengthen, straighten. I am everything. And he took nothing.
Thank you, Leslie. And please keep clapping for your next poet, Aya.
For Ayana Jones. After the black hole verdict, a blonde woman and a microphone stroll into a bar and ask me for an interview. Well, they swore me in some time ago, pressed the pulse of my palm against a god I had no interest in touching. To be born corpse is to be born sinner, and so the singes on my hands are wiggle room. And it's awful hard to speak with all this teeth showing. Awful hard to stand with all this glass here, so I just hang there and watch from a mirror that hasn't broken yet. A blonde woman asked me why I did it. Well, last night I realized there was someone else stuck behind my mirror. They look like me, and they scream like me, but they haven't decomposed yet. I had to come to terms with the fact that my cadaver will always look like a chew toy, like the hollowed marionette of a corn-husk doll, but the bailiff stays slaying all the negative skin, clinging to my bones, gripping to me like I'm its. Every time I look at my reflection, it flinches. She doesn't look like me. There's not enough blood, and all her teeth are still. There is now a hashtag attached to my name.
A blonde woman asked me how it felt to be black. She meant to ask how it felt to bleed. First, I tell her all my selfies look like catacombs. My smile magically transformed itself into something akin to a supermassive black hole, sucked all the bullets right out of that gun, sucked all the hope right out of how silent toe tags tend to be. I turn to my reflection and ask it for reprisal, and here I am now, cornhusk doll with the teeth slowly leaking out the shadows, and it's scary. When all the blood goes rushing to your lungs and you want to scream but only end up drowning yourself instead, there is a baby bleeding on the other side of this mirror, and she has my name. And you think I'd get used to seeing the spines ripped out from children I love and birthed, but never knew. A blonde woman asked me to speak for my reflection. Once the lungs behind the Legos, the microphone now is pushed under shattered glass, and I don't know how to speak anymore. And my reflection reaches for me, throat ripped out through the vacancy of her smile, and she tells me she can't breathe. Says it over and over like a secondhand mantra. She says, by this point, I'm refusing to speak. I'm staying as silent as a corpse is supposed to. My tainted tongue and tainted skin and tainted corpse are minding their own godforsaken beeswax, and this blonde woman with her blonde mouth and her blonde journalism only want the scoop on whether specters are colorblind, wants to see if cemeteries cause amnesia, some insight to the fire, why I burned myself and my baby girl before I burned everything around us, and I want to ask her why they have funerals in government buildings, why they choke people in government buildings, why they shoot children and still smile in government buildings. If having no melanin also means having no remorse, she wants to know why black blood always feels like a joke. So I show her all the broken glass inside my smile. She wants to know why everything around us is on fire. Well, ain't nothing funnier than watching a star implode and taking a whole entire universe with it. A yellow journalist asked me to name all the headstones in my womb. Need I remind you, this is only a 3-minute interview. But before we go, I forgot to mention I was born from my own black hole, incorporeal. Mothered a bed of burnt sand, dressed her in hashtags, named us intangible, set fire to the sky so not even there God could touch us. But these bailiffs with their white hands and their unbleeding bodies think they have the right to hold me back, extinguish everything I stand for, to baptize my womb in blood and violence and gunpowder. At least if they defund Planned Parenthood, I'll have a backup plan.
All right. Keep clapping for Aya. And welcome to the microphone, Amani.
After Claudia Rankin. 1. Miss Desiree had allowed his violence this side of the exit wound, but maybe you heard her wrong. Maybe her throat can't help but harden into pedestal, her voice a rock skipped across the Atlantic of a classroom. She can't have said that. She got tenure and 3 blue-eyed legacies waiting for her at home. Her raw red mouth don't even look big enough to hold Emmett's name, nah. You must be tripping. She couldn't hurt anything but what she thinks is animal. Then again, she is from Southern heat, can swat any dark and fly thing out her line of sight without as much as blinking an eye. She throws her twang into every conversation she isn't invited to. Disbelief makes her an easy thing to excuse, because she ain't mean that, really. She not vulture to the dead boy's memory or nothing. 2, you tell your mother your teacher asked you if Emmett Till was a rapper or something. Her spirit is baptism pool teased into tsunami, troubled water aching for a body to drown. Even so, she don't want to make a fuss. Silence is your best anchor. You don't want to be that black family, do you? The ones always asking where the rope came from, replaying the moments between subject and object, between boy and it, between Emmett and the chains Miss Desiree picture him in, you look at your mother like a life raft and see everything in her face but surprise. 3, the next day, Miss Desiree mark you absent even though you right in front of her. She don't apologize or nothing, just brush you off like some strange fruit fly and say she ain't see you. You absent until proven present. You get invisible like this sometimes, fade like a smoke bomb's breath into the air of this school or this country or whatever keeps you up at night. Here you are, questioning your existence like a god's, staring at your hands as if to question if they can carry this weight, this omnipresent absence. 4, Miss Desiree spread herself like the plague through all of your nightmares. You see her everywhere you're supposed to be. The history book, the front of the line, everywhere except the grave. She just got one of those faces the world is trained to bow to, you know. She sharpened her teeth with skin like yours. She ready to smile for Fox News. The camera cuts to you and you don't even got a mouth to begin with. And this is how Black Death infects a student. You, the muted ambulance rushing towards an emergency no one else can hear screaming. You are both the hospital and the one bleeding, but just let it go. She ain't mean it. Get to class.
Give it up for Amani. And clap for your final poet of the evening. Make some noise for Nkosi.
A dentist told me I needed a root canal. The last one dug out too much of the bone when cleaning the back molar, and now there's a destroyed country on the side of my face. Ruined cities, split marble walls where death is an occasional activity. Through the streets where the jawline is met, I heard a knuckle crack against the face of a boy who resembled me so much when submitting to agony that the gums began to swell. It's so funny how pain makes the body remember things. Like how years ago, the left side of my face was flung into a dune of snow, the flakes stinging the flesh until the black faded, it now a bright brown. You could almost see the blood crawling through the windows of the cheek, looking out into the world as if to want to escape the prison of this body. But the tooth needs containment, needs a lack of air, ironically, for the thin blood to breathe, needs the baton of a toothbrush to rattle against the cages of the mouth to put the teeth to rest. And maybe that is the meaning of a government in the mouth. For us to always end up in an endless slumber as we decay into a quiet death, the kind you don't hear until we are all gone and without music. The nerve falls on its knees like a mother would, praying for her son to return back to the same body that she birthed him with all 32 shimmering, intact teeth. And this may be the only metaphor for a cavity, how the son always comes back incomplete as a black substance blossoming in the open, wide space of the tooth, looking like coal, the suffix of fire. So his gums is burning with the molar, hung high in the back of the mouth, as if attached to a cross in the deep south, steadied, solemn, and grief-made here, lynched to the roof of the mouth, and the lynch mob is there taking a snapshot or two, recording how death makes even the whitest parts of us perish into a black silence, and that silence rots us from inside out, and this American grief is called a toothache, an event that often causes a wanting of death, like a friend who wants to commit suicide, and then wants to resurrect as a tooth, and then wants to die again. So maybe that is the meaning of a government in the mouth. Wow. Look at how we smile. The teeth shimmering like stars. Dead, so much like us.
Give it up for all these poets here on the stage. Wow. We are almost at that time where we'll be naming the 2016 New York City Youth Poet Laureate. So we're going to do a little bit of scorekeeping. And while we're doing that, we're going to bring our host to the stage to share a poem. Do y'all want to hear a poem from Mahogany L. Browne? One thing that we really wanted to make a special announcement about and really share, it's out there in the world, but I don't think enough people know about it, but Mahogany's been a really impactful person in our organization. Her newest book of poetry is called Redbone, and it came out about 3 or 4 months ago. And it's an incredible collection, so incredible, and you might know this, but I think that a lot of people don't know about this, that it's been nominated as a finalist for the NAACP Image Award. So we just wanted to show her some love and congratulate her, and we hope that she wins that this February. So without further ado, give it up to your host, Mahogany L. Browne.
For the mothers, Falu, Crystal Valentine. They say you ain't supposed to be here, black girl. You ain't supposed to wear red lipstick. You ain't supposed to wear high heels. You ain't supposed to smile in public. You ain't supposed to smile nowhere, black girl. You ain't supposed to be no more than a girlfriend. You ain't supposed to get married. You ain't supposed to want no dream that big. You ain't supposed to dream it all. You ain't supposed to do nothing but carry babies and carry felons and carry weaves and carry confusion and carry silence and carry a nation, but never an opinion. Because you ain't supposed to have nothing to say, black girl, not unless it's a joke. Because you ain't supposed to love yourself, black girl. You ain't supposed to find nothing worth saving in all that brown. You ain't supposed to know that Tina, Beyonce, Cecily, Shonda, Rhymes, shine, 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 black girl. You ain't supposed to love your mind. You ain't supposed to love. You ain't supposed to be loved up on. You're only supposed to pose. Voodoo child, vixen style. You're supposed to pop out babies and hide the stretch marks. You're supposed to be still. So still they think you statue. So still they think you chalked outline. So still they keep thinking you stone. Until you look more Medusa than Viola Davis. Until you sound more Shanae than Kerry Washington. Until you're more side-eyed than Michelle Obama on a Tuesday, but you tell them you are more than a hot comb in a washing set. You are Kunta Kinte's skin. You are a black girl worth remembering, and you are a threat. Knowing yourself, you are a threat. Loving yourself, you are a threat. Loving your kin, you are a threat. Loving your children, you black girl magic, you black girl fly, you black girl brilliant, you black girl wonder, you black girl shine, you black girl bloom, you black girl, and you turning into a beautiful black woman right before our eyes.
Give it up for Mahogany Browne. I'm just carrying this book. I don't know if you guys noticed this, but I'm just carrying this book around because it's amazing. I won't let go of it for the next 6 months. We can't do programs like this without incredible partnerships, and I think the best partnerships are when non-for-profit organizations come together with local government, come together with universities, partner with corporations like the New York Knicks, which is something that we also do. 7 years ago, a visionary leader from the New York City Campaign Finance Board came to Urban Word with an idea to raise awareness around voting through the popularity of writing, creative writing, poetry, spoken word. And from that, we were able to put our minds together and come up with this program to announce and honor a New York City Youth Poet Laureate. And that's why we're here today, and that's why this program has gone national. So I want to bring up our partner who helped birth this program, and she will bring up Crystal Valentine to share one last poem with you as her tenure of the New York City Youth Poet Laureate comes to a close tonight. So please welcome to the stage from New York City Votes, Onita Coward-Mayers.
Good evening, everyone. I am so happy to be here. What a privilege it is to be before each of you and all of you. Thank you very much. But my biggest thanks right now is to Michael Sorelli. Michael, can we give it up for Michael? Michael took just a glimmer of a concept and made it into this. And for that, I am always grateful and thankful. I'd like to thank my colleagues in government who are here this evening, those from the New York City Campaign Finance Board, from the City University of New York, Stacey Emanuel, Andrew Miller, from the Department of Youth and Community Development. I thank you all for the work that you've put into making this a success. I'd like to put some of my comments to the young people who are here, those who are competing, those who have served, those who continue to come back because not only do they want to win, but because they want to make a difference. And their words do make a difference. Michael talked about when we first started this, but it was really because we wanted to start to give a venue for young people to begin to express what's inside of them. And tonight, we are the beneficiary of hearing all that burns within them. When the government says young people aren't voting, young people aren't interested, it's not true. That's not what we've heard today, right? This is our future. These are the people who will begin to direct us and continue to inspire us. The reason for this is because 50 years ago was another generation. And in that generation, they didn't want to sit on a bus. There was a march. There was a dream. There were young people your same age getting on buses, freedom riders, to make sure that they came from the north to the south to make sure that everyone had the right to vote, that a whole generation had the right to vote. And while that generation has gone on, we communicate differently, right? We communicate also through our words, through our prose, through our social media. And that's what we need from you. It's taking this generation to make the same impact, to make sure that everyone understands their right to vote, the importance of voting. We're here today and we're registering everyone who is not registered to vote. There is a table outside. Please, if you are not registered and you're eligible, register. Not only register, but go vote. We are that's right, that's right. We need our young people. The poet laureates who have gone before these have been amazing. They have gone out not only performing their poems across this city and making sure that their peers understand the importance of it, but they've gone to Albany. They have spoken to the legislators. They've talked about the importance. They've talked about being 16 and 17 and deserving the right to register to vote. Because if this burns inside of you, who says you're too young, right? You're not. You're ready. So we do have petitions here, and we're asking you to sign those petitions if you believe that we should have the right to vote earlier at 16 and 17 to pre-register and to be able to vote earlier, not just on one day, but for 2 weeks. Why is it in New York and in 33 other states, they can vote on more than one day? We need that in New York. So this is the voice and the work that the Youth Poet Laureate does. It's not just a performance. It is a body of work. So we are very excited, and I know it's very difficult for the judges. But I want to say that they have done this. The person I'm bringing up next is very dear to me Crystal Valentine was an amazing, amazing Youth Poet Laureate. She represented you wonderfully, whether she was on MSNBC with Melissa Harris Parry, or if she was up in Albany speaking with the legislators. Crystal always stayed focused on what is important. So I encourage you to go look for her book outside, and please join me as we welcome Crystal Valentine, our goddess.
How y'all doing? So I just got one more poem for you guys. Is that okay? Thank you. Do you guys know who Rachel Dolezal is? Great. I do too. In a fit of rage, my blackness dragged Rachel Dolezal into the backway alley by the roots of her badly permed hair. Wow, girl, don't you know you gotta take your black face off before a fight? Why are you standing in the corner like that for? You scared? You don't know how to fight? You gotta know how to fight, girl. Not like fist fight, but like the policeman's bullet is following you through the shadows and you gotta make it back home fight. Like you've just been pulled over and you don't want to become a Sandra Bland mugshot, so you gotta stay silent, gotta make your mouth a graveyard fight. Like the homeless man just called you a nigger and you have to spend the next 5 days apologizing to your skin fight. Have you ever been called a nigger, Rachel, in a fight, in a university classroom, in front of your 13-year-old nephew? Do you say it when no one's around? Whisper it like a blasphemous prayer sent to a white God? You think you black, girl? The only thing you know about a black woman's body is that you were not blessed with one. My skin will not fashion you a welcome mat. My skin will not make room for your name in my mouth. My skin will spit in your face. You think you black, girl? Your blackest moment is deciding what brand of paint to use for your black face. Your skin cannot pass a lie detector test. Your skin belongs in the Guinness Book of World Records for the longest standing Halloween costume. Your skin deserves a punch in the face. Come here, girl. You so privileged. Take your mask off and get a newspaper spread. Get a featured spot on a talk show. Get an interview. Most black women don't even make the news until they're dead. Most dead black women don't even get a shout out during the commercial break, but there you go. Another white fiend lusting after something she ain't bleed for. Come here, girl. My fist will make you the blackest bruise you could ever wish to be. And you'll still prosper. You'll be a martyr for appropriators everywhere. You'll get a Lifetime movie entitled All My Life I Had to Steal. Kylie Jenner will play your leading role. Miley Cyrus will make you her spirit animal. We'll build a shrine dedicated to your black face, and you'll still prosper, and you'll still be a white woman. And if they kill me, they'll still cover your story instead of my funeral. Thank you guys so much.
Give it up for Crystal Valentine. She has done this position amazing this past year. I want to bring up all the finalists. Can you all come to the stage? Everybody that's been a finalist, can you all stand up and get some love? This is the moment we've all been waiting for. Can I bring the host to the stage and everybody else that's been part of this journey? come up on stage. Thank you to our judges. I want to thank the Urban Word, New York City staff and board of directors. We need to thank our judges, of course, our host, Mahogany L. Brown, Jacqueline Woodson, and DJ Abby. Give it up for DJ Abby. Our partner, New York City Votes. Our supporters from Con Edison and the New York City Department of Cultural Affairs. 92nd Street Y for hosting this event. Thank you to Larissa and the crew here today. April 16th is the New York City Teen Poetry Slam Finals at the Apollo. Those tickets go on sale January 1st. We're trying to raise $15,000 for this program before the end of this year, so we have about 2 weeks left. It's called 15 in 15. If you go to our website, urbanwordnyc.org, you can make a donation, tax deductible. We really appreciate that. And of course, in the merch table outside is Crystal's book, and that supports this organization as well. I'm going to announce the 2 runners-up, and then I'm going to leave it to Crystal to announce the winner. So I want to give it up to our second runner-up who did an incredible job tonight. Please welcome Aya Perez, the second runner-up. Tonight's runner-up, Imani Davis. And Crystal, can you take the center mic to announce the 2016 New York City Youth Poet Laureate?
Can I get a drum roll, please? And the 2016 Youth Poet Laureate is Nkosi.
So you can look out for Nkosi's book next year at this event. Thank you all and get home safely.
We gon' take it to the moon, take it to the stars. How many people you know can take it this far? I'm supercharged. I'm about to take this whole thing to Mars. And we gon' take it to the moon.
Guys. Wait, DJ. Guys, I just want to say I want to give a shout out to my mom right over here, my first reader, my editor for life, and thank you everyone. And this was amazing. Thank you for this opportunity.
What you think I'm hot for? Every summer drop mode. Hits to make my stock go up. Them hands go up. The bands go up. I'm number one in this. Then I'ma say that. We the best of the best. Cry while you haters asleep. I'm yelling free Weezy. I'm at the heart of the streets. Who harder than me? I'm wearing the crown. Tell me can't stop, won't stop. Go hate on me now.
I can never get enough when it come to getting fitted. Niggas ain't ready for my Ferrari Scaglietti. Mario ain't dreaded. Money coming fast. My honeycomb hideout is made of all glass. I can never be a racist. Wake up every morning just to count white faces. Neo in the Matrix. Glorious as Morpheus. Employed all warriors. I'm mean as a scorpion. Dr. Kevorkian.